The Delhi World Cup promised to be a busy one, with both rifle and pistol and shotgun events on the schedule at the shooting complex on the outskirts of the Indian capital. Athletes were able to compete in a total of 30 finals, with the ISSF introducing a host of new team events. First up, the men's 10-metre air rifle event. With two Indian athletes in the final 8, there were high hopes of medals for the home team, who had brought a squad of 57 to the World Cup. 8th place went to the 23-year-old Nam Tae-un. He had to take his seat despite scoring a perfect 10.9 with his last shot. Next to go was the Ukrainian Oleh Tarkov, the 33-year-old unable to add to his solitary World Cup bronze won 6 years ago in Munich. With the American Kozniewski leading, it was a tight battle at the bottom. Home fans were hoping that Arjun Babuta could stay in the contest, and he just managed to do enough to edge Chubong Gil into 6th.
6.6, he's 1.0 behind Lucas.
It was a short reprieve for Babuta, who was the next man to exit the stage. However, 5th was the best World Cup result for the 22-year-old, with many better days surely still to come. Sergei Richter's only World Cup gold was 11 years ago, and he was unable to add to his 3 silvers and 3 bronzes, as he lost out to India's Divnesh Panwar in the battle for the podium. 3 left and the bronze went to Panwar, a second World Cup medal for the 18-year-old prodigy. It was a very tight finale, with Istvan Penny of Hungary only just missing out on gold to the American Lucas Kozniewski, the first World Cup gold for the 25-year-old from Colorado Springs. The women were next up, with the Americans hoping to be on the podium again. One athlete not making inroads was Romania's Roxana Sidi, 8th in her first air rifle final. There were 2 Polish athletes in the final, but unfortunately they didn't last long. 20-year-old Aleksandra Sutko in her first senior final took 7th, and her compatriot Anita Stankovic was 3rd, leaving a tight fight for the podium amongst the rest. Anjum Mudgil was unable to add a medal for India, the world number 3 still waiting for a World Cup medal in this discipline. Rika Ibsen came close to making the last 3, but despite a strong finish, had to settle for 4th. The medalists had been settled, but the medals hadn't, with nothing between Weiss and Dennis. It went to a shoot-off to decide bronze, and if ever there was a time to pull out a maximum, this was it. The teenage Dennis is already in the world's top 10, and this was her first World Cup medal. The 2 Americans were left to fight for gold, and in the end it was Mary Tucker who prevailed comfortably, the 19-year-old claiming her first gold in only her second air rifle final. From air rifle to air pistol, with the women still centre stage, and 3 Indian athletes in the final 8. Jiao Shung-chae of Singapore was first to go, followed by Golnish Sebgal Tohali of Iran. It was a first World Cup final appearance for the 23-year-old Latvian Agati Razmani, but despite her achievement, a medal was beyond her as she finished 6th. 3 of the final 5 were Indian, and their odds of a clean sweep improved when Alejandra Zavala Vazquez took her seat in 5th place. However, the gap of 1.2 between 3rd and 4th was too much for Sri Neveta Paramananthan, and a poor couple of shots consigned her to 4th. The Indian pair of Deswal and Baka were joined in the last 3 by Victoria Cheka of Belarus. But the veteran 3 times World Cup winner couldn't add another gold in Delhi, a 9.2 with her last shot, giving her the bronze. Gold and silver guaranteed for India, and Deswal took top step of the podium comfortably. Born in New Delhi, this second World Cup gold was no doubt especially sweet. For the 19-year-old backer, who is the world number 2, another medal for her already impressive CV. In the men's air pistol final, India again showed their strength with 3 athletes in the 8 lined up. The USA might have triumphed in the air rifle events, but it wasn't to be here. Nicholas Maurer was the first to take a seat, a last shot of 9.1 sealing his fate. 19-year-old Eldar Imankulov was the next to go. It was his first final in a World Cup, but you suspect not his last. Another in his first final was Denmark's Frederik Larsen, the man from Aarhus, finishing 6th. With 5 left in the final, it was India's Shazar Rizvi who was in danger, and 2 poor final targets allowed compatriot Abhishek Verma to stay in the competition at his expense. Brazil's Felipe Wu, who famously lost out on Olympic gold in Rio with the last shot, missed out on a medal here. Abhishek Verma's last 2 targets were excellent, but he had too much to do, and the world number 1 couldn't add a 3rd World Cup gold to his collection. "18-year-old Chowdhury Surab won here 2 years ago. However, he couldn't overhaul Javid Forogi, who won his first men's World Cup gold in his first final. At 41, very much the veteran on the podium. The first final outside was the women's skeet. In the Delhi sunshine, 6 athletes were hoping for a golden moment in the run-up to Tokyo. It wasn't to be for Poland's Natalia Schramrej. The Krakow native faltered to finish 6th. Roxana Sofia Miklos of Romania has been improving steadily in the last couple of years, but in her first final, misses from Station 3 hampered her search for a medal, and she had to settle for 5th. After 30 targets, it couldn't have been closer. It was Kartiki Shaktawat who missed out on a podium when she missed 2 of her last 4 targets. It was still tight after 40 targets, but a double miss for Ganamet Sekon meant she took the bronze, a first women's skeet medal for India.
At the end of the round, Amber Hill lead.
When Zoya Kravchenko missed her 56th target, it looked like Amber Hill would take the gold. But the British athlete missed her last target of the 60, and her Kazakhstan opponent took it to a shoot-off. Hill kept her calm and came out on top, an especially sweet gold after the Great Britain team had to quarantine on arrival in India before competing. The men's skeet final included Jesper Hansen, the Danish athlete who bagged gold last time out in Cairo. There was also an Indian hope in Gurjot Kangura, but his first appearance in a men's final was short-lived. He was first to leave in 6th place, followed by Rashid Hamid of Qatar. After 30 targets, there were only 2 points separating the final 4. The pressure might have played a part for Carl Killander in his first final appearance. He missed out on the medals after missing his last target. The world number 1, Janssen, kept up his impressive form, and it was Qatar's Nasser Al Attiyah who was next to leave with the bronze medal clinched. With 10 targets to go, Jensen had a comfortable lead over Said bin Futaiz of the United Arab Emirates, and by the end of the 60 targets, it was even more comfortable. The Danish athlete missing only 2 targets overall. His back-to-back World Cup wins showing why he is the red-hot favourite heading towards Tokyo. With the 10-metre mixed team air rifle event making its debut at the Tokyo Olympics, all eyes were on the indoor arena. The bronze medal match was between the USA and Poland. The American pairing had both won gold individually, and they had just enough to edge a close match and take the bottom step of the podium.
that our
The fans might have been missing, but amongst the magnificent theatre of the indoor range, the Indian team gave a great performance to take gold.
Send the links to your friends.
Hungary's Esther Dennis and Istvan Penny lost the last 3 sets as the Indian team swept to victory. The ISSF's search for more eye-catching formats seemed to have hit the mark in the new team events, and when just one shot could change the course of a match, fans, post-COVID, will be on the edge of their seats. The mixed team air pistol event was the next to grace the arena, and India had a team in both matches. The India 2 team took the bronze medal over Turkey in a tight match. They won 3 of the last 4 sets to take it 17-13. Deswal added the bronze to a women's gold earlier, with Versa making it her second bronze of the World Cup. In the gold medal match, Iran stood between the India 1 team and the gold medal. It was the 2 teenagers, Surab and Barker, who showed just what shooting superstars they are, with a consummate performance and consistently high scoring. They were just too good for the Iranian pair, who had to settle for silver after being beaten 16-12 in another exciting final. The mixed team initiative has also extended to the shotgun events, and in Delhi, India were in both finals of the skeet mixed team event. In the bronze medal match, the India 2 team were lined up against Qatar. Rashid Hamid had won individual bronze in Cairo the month before, and with Reem Al-Sharshani, they kept pace with the Indian pair. In the end, they won by a single target, aided by Dalawal missing her last clay.
Represented by Hamid Rashid and Al-Sharshani Reem.
India were hoping for better luck in the gold medal match. In Bajwa and Sekon, they had a youthful pairing, especially compared to the Kazakhstan team, which had a combined age of 84. At 51, Olga Panarina has decades of experience, but she and Yeshchenko were unable to find any consistency. It was Bajwa who stood out, with only 1 missed target, and India took gold by a 4-target margin. Another boost to India's dominant position at the top of Delhi's medal table. The 50-metre rifle 3-position competition is the marathon of the shooting events, needing stamina and a dash of engineering as well as accuracy. With the arena now opened up to the elements, the men got down to business. After the kneeling position targets, India found themselves top and bottom of the rankings. Istvan Penny, who won here in 2019, was handily placed. After the changeover, it was time for the prone position, where athletes tend to score the heaviest, and it's important to keep in touch with the leader. By the end of the second position, that was Stefan Olsen of Denmark, but it was all very much still to play for. There are 9 minutes between the prone and standing elements, essential time as the athletes have to put on their stabilising clothing and change the rifle settings. The marathon becomes a sprint as, after the 8th series of 5 shots, an athlete leaves after each target. First to leave was India's Neeraj Kumar, the 21-year-old never really getting going in the final. He was followed by Finland's Juho Kurki. Alexei Lepa just missed out on the podium. The medalists were engaged in a tight fight for gold. Stefan Olsen took bronze, his fate sealed by a disappointing 9.5 last target. India's qualifying for the Olympic Games is determined by ranking, so Aswari Toma's gold in the competition was especially sweet. The 25-metre pistol final is a particularly loud piece of indoor theatre, and in Delhi it was graced by a strong field. No disgrace then for Tae-Shi Hung to finish 8th in her first Olympic medalist Heidi Datem-Gerber missed 4 of her last 5 shots to finish 7th. Alexis Legan missed all of her last series to finish in 6th place. India were looking good for a clean sweep. The chances improving when Karen Kweseda left in 5th place. Only Agate Rasmeni was left to spoil the home nation's party, but she missed her last 9 targets and had to settle for 4th. An all-Indian podium, and it was Manu Bhaker who took bronze, her 2nd medal here after silver in the 10-metre air pistol. Yadav's advantage was just 1 point going into the last series. Rahi Sarnabat did enough to level the scores and take the final into a shoot-off. It was tight, but Yadav did just enough to take her first gold in her first final and boost her rankings ahead of Tokyo. The women's 50-metre rifle 3 positions final was next at the indoor arena. Another diverse lineup, this time with no Indian involvement, tackled the kneeling position first, and after 15 targets it was Lalita Gaspar who was adrift at the bottom. All change as the athletes got ready for the prone position.
Stop. Load.
And by the end of 15 targets, Erika Ibsen had joined Gaspar in the danger zone, with Ziva Dvorak lead looking solid. There are 9 minutes changeover as the athletes got ready for the standing position, but once suited and booted, the action started to heat up. 2 series of 5 targets before the first athlete leaves the final, then 1 after every target. Gaspar and Ibsen were the 2 athletes still struggling at the wrong end of the table, and they were the first 2 to depart.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a big applause. 4.7 ahead from Anita, who's Mary Caroline from USA, 401.9.
Urska Kaharic had too much ground to recover in a single target and finished 6th, with Ziva Dvorak looking very comfortable in first place. It wasn't so comfortable for Mary Tucker, the American unable to repeat her gold in the 10-metre air rifle event. Arina Altakova was just edged out of the medals, which left Nina Christian and Anita Stankiewicz battling over the silver and bronze. 2 poor final targets left the Polish athlete with the bronze. Dvorak had a comfortable cushion going into the last target, which was just as well as she shot an 8.8. Christian with the silver after her gold here last time, Dvorak with her first World Cup win. From the marathon of shooting to what is arguably the 100 metres of rifle and pistol, the 25-metre rapid-fire event, the Indians were back in force, making up half of the final lineup. But after the first 2 series, 2 of the Indian trio were at the bottom of the standings. Didn't get any better for the hosts, with Gurpreet Singh becoming the first to depart proceedings. Anish, the 18-year-old, managed to replicate his 2019 placing here, finishing 5th. Marco Carrillo marked his first final with 4th place, leaving a tight race for gold. Oscar Milovic missed 3 of his last 5 targets to have to settle for bronze, his first World Cup medal. 18-year-old Vijayveer Sidhu forced the final to a shoot-off, but Peter Olsek held his nerve to take his first World Cup gold. Outside at the shooting range, it was time for trap to take centre stage, with an all-European lineup battling it out in the sunshine. Spain had 2 athletes in the 6, but it wasn't to be their day. In her first World Cup final, Beatriz Martinez missed 5 of her last 10 targets to be the first to take her seat. Cristina Beltran had started poorly and didn't really recover in her first senior final, both Spaniards out early on. It was tight amongst the remaining 4 athletes. Safia Saritur couldn't overhaul the rest and just missed out on the medals.
from Slovakia.
With all three remaining athletes level on points, it was anyone's gold medal. Not a good time for Fiammetta Rossi to miss her last three targets. For her, the bronze, her first World Cup medal. Sandra Bernal of Poland was looking to add another gold medal to the one she managed in Nicosia last year, and she looked on course to do just that, until she missed her last target. The battle for gold went to a shoot-off, and in the end it was Bernal who blinked first, handing the gold to world champion Zuzana Rehak-Stefesakova. Proof that in this sport just one shot can change the outcome dramatically. The men were up next, and the VAR system to check on whether a target has been hit or not was soon in action, a vital tool to help the referees. After 20 targets, the double world champion Alberto Fernandez was top of the pile, with Michael Slamka in trouble, and it was the Slovakian who made way first. Antonio Balon's form deserted him in the latter stages, missing 7 of 15 targets as he finished 5th. Kainan Chennai missed out on a home medal in his first final, but he remained tight for the three left in the competition. Despite hitting his last 20 targets, Valerio Grazzini had to settle for bronze. Fernandez had a 1-point advantage going into the last 10 targets, but Daniela Reska didn't miss any. And with Fernandez missing 2, it was enough to earn him his first World Cup gold. The trap mixed team event is another that would debut at the Tokyo Olympics, which meant that doing well here was especially important. For India, a chance to add to their 30 medals at the World Cup, half of them gold. However, it didn't go to plan for the Indians in the bronze medal match. Up against a Turkish team of Yivaj Ilnam and Safia Sariturk, they were always playing catch-up. Sariturk was able to make up for the disappointment of finishing 4th in the individual event with a place on the podium. At this World Cup there were an expanded 18 teams, 12 in rifle and pistol and 6 in shotgun, giving athletes the chance to add to their medal tally. This gold medal match saw Slovakia take on Italy, and it was the Italians who took an early lead. Zuzana Rehak-Stefesakova was looking to add to her individual gold, but it wasn't going to script. She had to settle for silver alongside Adrian Drobny, who also took silver in the men's team event. The Italians took gold, Grazzini adding to his individual bronze. Italy finished 3rd in the medal table, but the week belonged to the host India, who held a successful World Cup and dominated the medals.